Preclusion is a documentary about international students who have come to Australia from different backgrounds and cultures to study here. Though, it soon becomes clear that in living life as an international student, the costs of reality can sometimes weigh heavier on the individual than their cost of living. On the other hand, in many cases, the challenges have helped them to rise to the occasion with stories of hope and dreams prevailing. Australia's $15.5 billion education business is the nation's second largest export industry after mining. Universities depend on international student fees to prop up their budgets. The standard of living in Australia is comparatively higher than the rest of the world. And above that, it is one of the most multicultural countries in the world. We interviewed many students who shed some light on the experiences they've had, both good and bad. Confrontations such as culture shock, meeting education standards, and a sudden outbreak of racial violence have been among some of the biggest challenges they have faced.
I'm studying professional accounting at master's level and management information systems.
It's because I actually kind of like the course structure over here, the stuff which was being taught over here. I checked out all the options which I had. I checked out the equipment, the infrastructure, and things like that.
Australia replied first.
So many aspects which Australia is having, like presently UK, US is totally saturated with the degrees and all that stuff. They don't have a very good we don't have a good options to move there, and the way of studying in Australia or either in UK or in US is similar. So why don't you go the place where you find something comfortable with so much of diversity?
A twist of fate, and I guess it was just a good place to come to.
Top story on the news hour this evening. It's not the first time racism has shown up its ugly face in Australia. But racism so brutal, so horrific, so undiluted in its venom that it shocked the country once we began reporting it this morning.
In recent years, the number of international students studying in Australia has grown sharply, as have robberies and assaults amongst the student community. According to Aranesh Chaubey, the writer of The Migrant, a biography about the experience of an Indian student in Melbourne, says, "The real problem is violence, and it has existed for a long time all around the world. It does not solely belong to Australia."
I can't say overt racism, a bit covert probably, which is expected when somebody just meets somebody from a different culture. Right? But I've heard of people who have really experienced it, probably rougher than I have.
I think it was not targeted towards just Indians, that's what I felt, because they were just random attacks and they just came into the limelight. The whole thing just got blown.
The real problem is violence and mindless violence, and this violence has existed for a long time, and it is there in many countries. Australia is not the only country, Melbourne is not the only place. But of recent, what may have happened is many incidents must have happened towards one just small community, and that may be the student community.
My name is Golam Wafi Chaudhary. I chose Australia because it's a multicultural country, and I like making friends with people of different countries, and that's the only reason I came here. I can make friends and I can get all the cultures in one place. I had lots of expectations of Melbourne. I thought it's a really advanced country. I always used to think Australia is a really safe country because when I came from Bangladesh, it wasn't so safe, but still we were prepared for all those things. But here it's not safe because 2 months back I was attacked, and I guess that's a racial attack. It was really scary, but the thing is that I was really confused what was going on. Because before I even saw the offenders, they just pulled me out of the car. They've hit me in my head and I was completely blacked out. And after that, without even speaking or taking any of my personal belongings, they just went on stabbing me. They've done it 9 or 10 times. After I was stabbed, within 2 or 3 minutes, the police, the ambulance, they came there. They've asked me a few questions and they've showed me a few pictures of the people in that area, so that I know whether those are the offenders of that area. And after that, they've given me an appointment to sketch the face of the offenders, but for twice they've already rescheduled. and now after like 2 months, I've forgotten the face of the offenders. I was stabbed in my stomach. Now it's almost alright, and I've got few of my back, and I've got one stab on my hand. It was during when all the racial attacks were going on with the international students. So I think it might be because of racial attack, because of my color and all that stuff.
Australian society feared the recent Indian demonstrations would damage our global image and our education market.